And a great big hey, howdy, hey to all my goofy goobers out there. Welcome back to Animanic Commentaries with C.Auzi.
Oh, and DF. Well, you know, you started as soon as I put my headphones on.
Oh. Oh, and...
Shalom, anyway.
Shalom, yes, because tonight we're getting a little Jewish because we've got all the Jewish holidays this month, or like, well, I guess Easter.
Not all of them.
Yeah, not all of them. I guess and maybe we got Passover, and then we've got Easter, which is, I guess, more Catholic, I suppose.
Honey, Easter is Christian.
Yeah, yeah. It just involved a lot of
Catholic is just a branch of Christianity.
Yeah, a little more Christian. It's just we're getting religious in this bish. Yes, Ryder, that is absolutely true. Tonight, we're gonna watch Joseph, King of Dreams. First, I want to go over my familiarity with this film, which was not very kind initially. I literally just watched it this evening, and I'd say that like the people who had said things that were unkind about this film are like 80% wrong. This actually is good, you know. It's good by direct-to-video standards, which DreamWorks hasn't done a lot of. And you know what? It's pretty all right. I'd say that other like 20% is mostly just, you know, the songs aren't as strong as the Prince of Egypt, but that's, I guess, somewhat to be expected. How do you follow that up? And then, you know, the animation. They're like, if I want to be kind to Lion King 2, it matches the Lion King much better than this matches the Prince of Egypt in terms of like visual fidelity and you know, it's character design. I mean, actually no. I mean, character design's good. It's just the movement. The movement's a little in this film. Anyway. What's your familiarity with this film, my darling?
I mean, I was raised Catholic, so Bible movies.
There you go.
I mean, as a Bible story adaptation, going pretty well, even if they do gloss over the polygamy a little bit.
Well, a little bit. I don't think they, yeah. I don't even think
the way they talk, they make it sound like the first wife is no longer alive.
Yeah.
And you don't even see the first wife, who is still there.
They could have even made the argument that I was watching it and I was like, are they trying to read this that Jacob took up a surrogate but had to marry her for it to be legal? Like, I don't know. No. I know that's not how it was in the religious story, and I know that the movie doesn't actually frame it as that, but that's just a theory, a film theory that popped in my head when I was watching it earlier. Okay, that's all.
Yeah. What?
I love VeggieTales. Yes. And we'll be doing VeggieTales later this month.
Yeah. If you'll make surrogate, I do not think that means what you think it means.
Well, not in this instance, absolutely not. But they never really address the other wives, do they?
Wife.
There wasn't like at least a second one, a third one.
No.
Well, it's been a while since I've actually read.
Okay, clearly, people, I'm the one who's a little more Bible educated than he is.
And it's been a long time since I've actually read this story, so there were some things in this. So there were some things in this film that caught me off guard. Okay.
And I apparently need to explain the difference between Jewish and Christian to you.
Okay. I know that Easter's not a Jewish holiday, but it involved a Jewish man, all right? Jesus was born the son of a carpenter, all right?
Yeah, yes, but they don't celebrate it because the Jews don't believe he was the Messiah.
Yeah, exactly. Man, we gotta watch Fiddler on the Roof at some point. Actually, I want to see it on stage. Anyway, but that's beside the point. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to talk about Joseph, the King of Dreams, not his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, because I think this film, would you say, you know what, let's actually talk about it when we get into it. Everyone gets set to synchronize. Everyone gets set to synchronize. I know I'm stealing this melody from the Prince of Egypt, but I literally just watched this movie an hour ago, so forgive me. We're starting with text. Yeah, so basically what you want to do is that there are different copies if you're on Blu-ray like me. and what Squad seems to be, then you're gonna want to have the Universal Studios logo right at front. But I would make the recommendation to go straight to the DreamWorks logo. It's much more distinct, much more colors that will show up better in the big bricks of blurred up pixels. All right, so.
Yeah.
So, as everybody gets themselves set to synchronize at the DreamWorks logo, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get set, and we'll go. All right.
What do you know? What do you know? Squad is right. He did have a couple children by the maidservants as well. And also apparently had daughters that are not all named.
Nope. Welcome to the
not around.
prehistoric casual sexism. Anyway, let's go ahead and begin, shall we? All right, now we are ready to begin in 3, 2, 1, go. Uh-oh. Little snag. Uh-oh.
What did you do?
For some reason it froze. I don't know why. Hang on. I am so sorry. God, that's not my fault. Legitimately, that is not my fault. Okay. All right. I'm gonna share it with you again, super quickly. Okay. Here we go. Open recent media. Hit stop. Okay.
Take the volume before you start, please.
It's not the okay. It was okay. Okay. I think I've got the volume under control. All right. So everyone gets set to go in 3, 2, 1, go. And here is the Universal logo. So I will say I'm gonna be generous in a reading of the visuals. Again, like I said, direct to video, so it's not necessarily gonna be all that stellar. And if Universal gets on my ass, I'm gonna have to edit this part out, unfortunately. All right. The motion picture you are about to see is an adaptation of the story of Joseph in the book of Genesis, just because some of you may not be reading this. While artistic and historical license has been taken, we believe that this film is true to the essence, values, and integrity of a story that is cherished by millions of people worldwide. And you know what? I'd say that is 90% true.
No, I did not look up the voice cast beforehand. The only actor
Don't
I
worry.
remembered was Jodie Benson.
Yep, don't worry. Everyone in the chat, keep us up to date. Everyone keep us up to date. My copy has those flipped around. Oh, those words? That's weird. Anyway, the DreamWorks logo and the thing. Uh-oh. Well, that's going to be a little squonky for you.
So Batman is Joseph.
Batman is Joseph. Na 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 Joseph. King of
And the Joker is Judah. Oh my God.
Oh,
Mark Hamill.
Oh my God.
We got Ben Affleck and Mark Hamill. The only time we've had two.
That is amazing.
Separate times, Batman and Joker, but still,
that
funny.
is actually really funny. They probably didn't do that on purpose because Ben Affleck wasn't Batman yet. Nowhere near. And the father's a grandpa from Get Out. I want your eyes, Joseph. They can't have a waiting room because there's no hospitals at this time period.
I mean, if you know the story of Rachel and Leah, it's kind of messed up.
Yeah. I think they kind of imply. Yeah, he says.
I think he was tricked into marrying Leah.
Yeah.
Poor Leah.
I think he also, because we don't see her, I think the film kind of infers that she must have passed away at some point, which I don't think is true in the original story. I'm pretty sure she was alive.
Nah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rachel was the younger sister, but they wanted
to marry off the oldest daughter.
I mean, that's
first.
kind of implied to be. I know. I always thought that was meant to be Leia right there.
Could be. Oh, and this is great. And this is great because this. And I love these rhymes right here. And then the song begins. This is great.
Yeah, this was kind of unfair, though, because you did have like 10
right.
other sons beforehand, man.
It is true. It is terribly unfair.
And they were even willing to be good half brothers. But then
Irony hits. And this opening number does great. That's great. That's great visual storytelling right there.
Yeah, because the way it's written in the Bible, Jacob did not love Leah, but ironically, he had 10 children with her, so 10 or about 10.
Because he did want children, and he thought it was hopeless. Yes. Okay, I will say that this moment right here, you hear Joseph talking over his singing here. That's not. This is in no way, shape, or form. Jacob. Did I say Joseph?
Yes.
Well, it's gonna happen with Joseph later as well in this same song. And a miracle child. Okay, so I love the rhymes structure going on here. It's fairly simple, but it also kind of works because they're teaching their son.
I mean,
they don't actually bring the sun and moon into the dream later. But the mentioning of the sun and moon in this song would allude to that if they did keep the sun and moon part. They just mentioned the stars is all. That being said, I prophesy.
He works some good smarter, assonance. Not harder. Irrigation.
The best and brightest. I love that. That's so, because best and brightest is such a good common phrase to use as a rhyme.
Yeah, golden child.
And lightest, right? It's interesting. You will share. When I was watching this initially, you will share the heir of kings. I thought they would reuse that line in a later song. You will be an heir to kings, right? Like, wouldn't that have been fun? I was thinking, like, they're going to bring that line back, and they're going to change a couple of words. And it's like, heir will turn into heir with an H, and that would be really clever. But they never do. But now, honey, help me out here. We always depict, like, Joseph's coat of many colors, red and green and purple and chocolate, right? But would you say this would probably be more accurate to what it might have looked like in the biblical era?
I have no idea.
Because, like, it makes more sense.
Who really knows what it would have looked like?
That's true. David Campbell is Joseph's singing voice, and as a voice match for, I love that kind of downturned eyebrow look. Kind of makes him look like kind of sly. It's like, hey, you looking good.
I mean, let's be real. We don't even know what Adam and Eve really look like, and yet a lot of people draw them as white.
Yeah, it's weird. But I think this is reasonable, just from what I know of, like, dyes and fabrics, that they would splurge on something that would have some purple in it, but not all the colors of the rainbow. It's like, this doesn't share the problem of Tarzan where someone else is singing over it. It is the characters, but it does share the problem of Rockadoodle, where there's dialogue. At least it's under the singing, but it still muddies everything in the mix.
Dialogue. I don't see any dialogue.
No, you don't see it in the subtitles, but it does show up, like, a couple of times. And actually, I think you will see some subtitles for it later during one of the songs, but it's like, at least in that instance, I think it was important to have those happening at the same time. I love that he opens on that, and I was questioning whether or not facing away from camera was a good choice, and then I'm like, because he's not throwing it in their faces. He is in his own little world because that's how his parents raised him. So I think that was actually a really clever choice.
Golden child syndrome.
Yeah. Golden child with his golden trimmed coat.
Yes, and that's real. Yeah, that's really something I admire about DreamWorks' take on the Bible stories. See, usually when you're teaching Bible stories, you kind of have these stock characters, and like the main ones are depicted as perfect and such, but DreamWorks treated them as human, you know?
Yeah, which is how the Bible treated them too. They never depicted any of these characters as saints unless, there was like a reason to treat them like saints, like, oh, this person really kind of was a saint, like a real regular Mother Teresa. But a lot of these characters have human flaws in their original biblical tales, and I love that they keep that. In fact,
because they don't tell you that in Sunday school.
No, but they should. They really should be honest about it. Like
Veggie Tales.
We'll get to that later. That is a great. I love the Van Gogh-esque, and I'm gonna come back to that Van Gogh element later because he's gonna get another Van Gogh dream, but it's gonna be really great. Like, I love those faces. Right. I gotta say, I don't know what people necessarily think of his performance, but I think Ben Affleck does put a lot of emotion in this performance. Like, it is a really good performance. He does a really good job at depicting the human element.
Okay, Jacob's parenting skills
Okay,
suck,
Jacob,
by the way.
that was clearly Jacob's fault. It matters who started it. It really was Jacob who started this nonsense.
Yes.
Now, you can say that Joseph started this. I love him using that line in dialogue. Really great. Rachel's voiced by Broadway actress Maureen McGovern. And she had a very pretty voice. Yeah.
And the father and grandfather are Isaac and Abraham.
True. Many sons had Father Abraham. Yeah, you ever did that song in Sunday school? Many sons had Father Abraham. You ever did that one?
He had 2.
Well, no, the many sons are all the further descendants, grandsons, great grandsons,
okay.
and such. That's what the song was. That's what the song's about.
Yeah, by the
Like,
way, in Sunday
many
school, they
sons
don't
had-
tell you about
many s-
Abraham's
yeah.
Ishmael's son. That was the eldest one.
Right. Many sons have Father Abraham. I am one of them, and so are you. That's how the song. Okay, so you clearly didn't do that song in Sunday school. Okay. Anyway. And it really seems like he was being nice, but then, yeah, just jacking and joking on him.
Ooh.
Well. Hey now.
Oh, things you don't understand as a kid.
Welcome to the direct-to-video movie that looks cartoonier than the movie it's based off of. The parents put it on, and then they hear, "What the hell did he just say?" Right? But this is obviously a film that you should be watching with your parents. It's a biblical tale. In fact, it may be because they didn't shy away from those elements that they didn't continue this. Like, what would the trilogy have finished on, though? Like, would it have gone further back and gone to Noah, or would it have gone further forward and gone to Joshua?
Maybe, actually. Well,
Heck, maybe they would have just
Yeah.
done just kept going. I would have loved to see.
well, I mean, the whole point of Genesis was to show where everybody was descended from.
Yeah, and I want to see DreamWorks' take on the Gospels. I want to see the birth and the death of Christ. I want to see DreamWorks even if they do it in 3D animation. I would love for them to do that. What about you? Because I think they would be very respectful about it. You know.
Have you watched The Star?
Oh my God. No.
It's like the only nativity movie I know where they look like they would have been that age Israelite.
All right, and here it is. I absolutely love this. His first dream is very literal. It establishes the notion of his dreams being able to know. You notice that the wheats, I noticed this now, especially staring at it. The wheats there were kind of Van Gogh. Not as full and like blocky as the dream version, but they're still kind of Van Gogh with their strokes there, and I love that. That's actually really cool that I didn't fully notice. Really took care of those wolves. Wouldn't be coyotes necessarily. But I don't know, I thought of Wile E. Coyote. Because, one of the few times where Frank Welker didn't do the animals. Yep. Yep, and look at them come back sweaty or lake water. And
Good point.
then before he can answer that question, we have a... And then Jacob noticed. Yep.
Right.
But... Yep, that's him. That's the eldest brother there. That's
Judah.
Mark Hamill. Judah. Yep, I'm hearing the Mark Hamill in him now. And I'm really happy to say that this is the only other dream we get from Joseph's perspective. And as such is the only other Van Gogh style dream, which I love that the other dreams are different styles. I was like, oh, this film probably won't do that. It did. It does. And I'm like, I'm really happy with that because it's like it, and there are the sheaves. There are the sheaves of grain. You know, this isn't very clean, but you gotta admire that they did go for the whole, like, 3D camera movement. And then the stars. Oh, nope, the sun and moon are there. I guess I wasn't looking close enough. There it is. I guess they just went through that shot pretty quickly. And I also love the way this is framed. Remember, like I said, it matters who started it. Just paying attention to the dialogue here. That it could really be a... And he pokes up about the dream.
He even has a separate trough? You're kidding me.
Well, yeah, but that's not what I want to address. We've already addressed how favoritism is, but they were the ones who called, like, when he was talking to his mother. Yeah, they're egging him on. It was like, when Bugs Bunny says, I guess you don't want the present I brung you, don't ask. You asked for it. And they were asking for this. And I actually do kind of like the way Jacob handles this here. Right? Like, he makes very good... I think he phrases it a little better.
Even Rachel's like, oh gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Geez,
And
man.
this right here. Right? There you go. Right? He's not being firm on it because he does not know. Even Joseph doesn't seem to know what it really means. And it's like, yeah. Yes, that is right, squad. You can't blame that. Like, yes, I can understand why Rachel gets
Jacob
upset.
also doesn't acknowledge what the others do.
That is true. That is true. The only thing he said right was, this may be something we just don't understand. I'm not saying that that Joseph belongs above Judah. There just may be things we don't understand. Yeah. Now I was thinking here, it's like, oh, is it a really good idea for him to go talk to them? And then it's like, well, if she went to talk to those boys, she's the one who gave birth to Joseph. How well do you think that would have gone? Yeah. They're really hashing it out over there.
The whole way that Jacob and Rachel met is so messed up.
It's like,
and I feel bad for Leah in that story.
I feel bad for everybody in that story. It's such a fucking mess. Did Leah even want it?
Cute. Now why don't you tell the rest that?
Yeah.
Or treat him like that so.
Exactly. She's always there trying to diffuse the situation. I knew it was building to a song. I'm just like, this is the...
You know of God's plan, man. You stole your blessing from your father by pretending to be your brother.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, Jacob's a
And
little
this
shit.
is why I'm really... Right here. Sunflowers. We are associating Van Gogh and Joseph visually, and I really, really like that. And this is not the last time sunflowers are associated with Joseph. Like, this is just... I'm just like, you know, mind blown. Someone went to think of this. It's simple, because everyone knows The Starry Night and the Sunflowers by Van Gogh. It's simple, but very effective. So, CG butterflies that are gonna look really, like, it's already looking kind of weird. Oh God.
Lower budget than Prince of Egypt.
Look at the, they're just fucking. Oh my God. That's just probably the worst animation in the movie. No, there they are again. The butterflies. Oh God, the butterflies. There's room, bloom. A hug is sadder when you know what happens next. That is absolutely true. This hug is a lot sadder when you know what's like about to follow so soon. Yeah. Off he goes. And that's the last time he ever sees her. God. I mean, impressive animation for a direct-to-video film. I'm not even going to bring Disney into it, but I've seen other direct-to-video films with better animation. We literally watched one last time. It was the Barbie Princess and the Pauper. You call me crazy, but there was a technical prowess on that film that kind of outclasses this. It's not a blasphemy, but, like, who animated this film? Was it anyone in DreamWorks? That's my question. One could wonder. I love the way this you love the way this dialogue just naturally progresses here. Like, this really feels like what 12, like 11 siblings like really feels like with the odd duck, the, well, let me just say it, black sheep of the family, you know. In fact, I think you could call the odd one out the white sheep if you must, because it's all about like sticking out like
golden child.
Golden child. Yeah, it's about sticking out like a sore thumb. A thorn in their side since day one. I was really anticipating a villainous, maybe not a villain song, but a villainous song from the brothers. Their emotions were coming to a boiling point. I don't think they sing in this one.
Rams? No, wait, he did sing for a little bit, but he didn't have a song.
I mean, Ramses did sing during the plagues bit. That was a good like musical montage in the Prince of Egypt, which we'll get to next week.
Probably get that, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get there. Absolutely love this bit coming up here. The sun shines on him and the moon beams down. This may, in fact, be the opening from the closing of his dream. How things turn around. And there you go. There we have that.
Anytime I see scorpions in movies.
I mean, that's the same thing with me with spiders. I was concerned that thing was going to sting him.
Scorpion's more likely to kill you.
Originally, Brothers' plan was actually going to be to kill Joseph, but Reuben, the eldest, suggested they throw him into a pit instead. And that is also, Reuben's the eldest? Honey, confirm?
I don't know.
You're the religious studies major. I thought you might have,
Minor, and I mostly studied Buddhism.
Fair enough, okay. Oof. Yeah. Ooh, Lord. Yeah, this is where the...
I don't know why most versions often have Judah or Jude as the eldest, though.
Probably because it reminds them of Judas in the who sold Jesus for silver. And that may be one of the artistic licenses they're taking in this film.
And now it's 20.
As opposed to 30, I think. Is that right? But yeah.
How much was Jesus sold for?
Yeah.
30, yep.
Oh, I did remember. That's nice. Well, maybe it's inflation. That was a bad joke. Anyway,
Very, very bad.
Anyway. God.
At least a couple I don't know the exact number. The Bible's really weird on numbers, so a couple centuries.
Yeah, a couple. Some people may be
I mean,
exaggerating.
also says that Jacob lived for a few hundred years, so who knows?
Well, Joseph, no, Noah. Noah lived for over 200 years, so.
And so did Abraham. I think Adam lived to like 900 something.
Oh, and Methuselah is the eldest. That was like the oldest living man to reach.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole point of Genesis was just to show the whole family tree.
It's literally the whole bit of Genesis, kind of like kind of like another book in the Bible, is kind of just like a census, honestly.
Yeah, right. They didn't leave him out of this film. If you read the captions, Reuben is in there.
Yeah, he's amongst the brothers. Again, they probably chose Judah to lead the family. Again, sunflower associated with him. And cross dissolved to her face. Oh, that's great.
I mean, they also left out the daughters and the concubines and the other wife, so...
Yeah.
Shrug.
Yeah. And yeah, they killed a goat, I believe. Spilled its blood onto the... And come on, they wouldn't have had the forensics to know the difference between the blood of a goat and the blood of his son. My queen, you magic mirror, tells you the heart of a pig you hold in your hand. Just she had clairvoyance via the slave in the magic mirror. So in this case, they know nothing. God does not speak.
You keep talking about scientific stuff. That wouldn't have been plausible.
Oh my god, that matched it. Oh, the match dissolved from the smoke to the dunes. That was really good. Love that. That's good. See, there's some good production design. Even the animation, like, that's a little... that was a little weird facial expression.
Yeah, and this whole story is just how the Israelites came to Egypt in the first place.
Now, this is a change-up, a shake-up. And this is the frightening new world he's in. And that's what this song is about. And remember, Isis is a Egyptian god. Let's just remember that.
And Osiris, yes.
What, is that also a terrorist organization nowadays, or what?
Oh.
Yeah,
oh,
Isis.
I didn't know that was what you were talking about.
Yeah. It's like... Alright. And Homer Simpson is about to sell our poor boy. It's like, no! Homer, how could you do this? No one buys slaves from Mole Man. That was a worse joke. But yes,
yeah,
a lot of
deep appreciation of Egyptian architecture. Impressive, and built by thousands, possibly millions of slaves.
Yeah, I'd say that this is a really good example of putting the dialogue under, like... It's like, because you're focusing on the lyrics of the song, but they're but they still have them talking. Like, in fact, you could argue that through the voices of a choir of men of Egypt, he is hearing the voices of their gods. Those are the ones who are saying, welcome to your brand new life, you know? Which, honestly...
Also, he's not really focused on what everyone's saying. He's just kind of overwhelmed.
Yeah,
you know?
and that's the voices he's hearing. Ah, yes, Kevin Michael Richardson as this guy here. Hello, Gantu. Actually, you want to talk the Joker? He also played the Joker in the Batman cartoon.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, Potiphar. That's I think Potiphar is one of my favorite characters from this.
Oh,
you know, from a character analysis perspective.
Yes, his depiction in this version of the story is honestly very charitable compared to his things from the original. But they also, again, it's kind of the like we say, artistic license, and it works for the narrative they want to do. Yep.
Well, we have your control from your every step to your very peace.
Yeah.
I just felt this.
Control your soul. It's like, that is so great.
Even his identity's been erased here.
Yep. I love that. And that makeup is really strong. Yeah. Like, they know how to... They really knew how to make it in Egypt, didn't they? Now, one thing I will say is that, God, what is that? Is that just like
What is? Are you talking about the
the
charcoal?
rash? The rash, yeah. The reddening in
That
his fingers.
wet? You never scrubbed?
I guess I. Oh, okay, okay, I get it, I get it. But I want to point out that that is a day dream, but there was nothing Van Gogh in it, and I'm kind of slightly disappointed by it. But you know, that's neither here nor there. Um, and here, if you know the story, oh boy. What do you mean by that? I suppose I know what you mean by that. What does she mean by that?
Well, you know, she just wants him closer.
Oh, yes, I do.
Well, they lay it on thick.
We
even
are going
right
to,
here, geez.
yeah, we are going to. I will address it when the scene comes up, though. We're gonna focus on how Joseph endears himself to Potiphar in this story, and why he was like, and why he felt so betrayed when we get to that moment.
Meow meow. Hello, Ariel.
Yep.
You can definitely hear it in there.
Yeah, especially after I'm listening for it. And
Yeah, see, he works smarter, not harder.
Yep, I say it before and I'll say it again. Animals always know. Joseph's a good guy. And yeah, she's Potiphar's niece.
Well, technically, she's. Yeah.
Well, then she'd be niece-in-law, but still his niece. She refers to.
Yeah,
she
and then you always saw he'd been studying the hieroglyphs and.
Yep, he can read and write in Egypt. That was one of the selling points of putting him in a higher position in Potiphar's household. Yeah, because she refers to her as her aunt, so she is Potiphar's niece as well. So you know.
Yeah.
Yep, the bugs. The bugs. Get rid of the bugs. Yep.
She really not catching on. He's more into her niece.
Up a boat. Yeah, and yeah, she wants him close, and she just refers to him, not even by his name. This really puts things into perspective.
Yes, kink. You got a kink.
Oh, God. Oh, and this is also Homer Simpson. Yep. Just point out that Dan Castellaneta has a range. He's not just Homer Simpson, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
And, well, he's a genie, too.
True. He did, yeah, not terrible job either. I think most of...
He's able to switch up his voice when necessary,
and most of the things you could get him on are script writers, you know, because, like, the script writers had to come up with all the jokes instead of Dan in order to... And this is great. He's like, something's not right. Whoops. Whoops. And one empty side. Ooh boy. I love that this is. And here's something interesting, like, I love this.
He wouldn't even take the horse.
And this is interesting right here. And also, and also
respect.
Yes, he's saying honor, like, but he's also now, like, in a way questioning the. Oh yes, this is where he is asked. And there it is. All right, now here's the thing. Yes, he's an honorable person. Okay, now this. Now, who the hell is this?
He's got great organization powers.
Now
you should see his sock drawer.
Okay, now I've got a problem. Who is singing this? Because Joseph isn't singing this about himself. And Potiphar's not singing this about Joseph because that's not Potiphar's voice. So it's like, who is singing this? Do they say the lyrics are good, though?
And he made a scarecrow.
I love that. That's really good. Whatever roads at your feet.
Yeah.
Nice little scarecrow. I love that. Absolutely love that. Yeah, here it comes. Here it comes. I don't care, YouTube. Go ahead and flag this and age restrict it. Go ahead. Here it comes. Well, after this moment, that's a slight call forward to the Prince of Egypt. You know, because technically that story takes place after this one. Is the sexual assault. The wife who cried rape, if you will. Like, I'm not gonna shy away from it. This film obviously doesn't use any of those words, but you know the story that is. Like, David Campbell sings this as well, but Joseph talks over certain points. It makes the difference between his speaking and singing voice more noticeable. That's the thing, though. It's like Joseph should have been singing it. David Campbell should have been singing it in the first person.
Oh God.
Yep, here it is.
I mean, I will commend her for actually, starting a conversation before segueing into this.
And remembering his name, I guess. Like, counts for something. But no means no, ma'am. Yep, the sunflowers again. Again, get that Van Gogh connection in there because of his dreams visuals. It's like, I love the fact that it called the. And what do you mean by that? Yep. It's like he literally smacked her arms away. A slave to do that to a woman who owns him?
Yeah, order you to stay.
Yeah. Now, is she
went straight into it?
Now, is she wrong about that? Maybe not. But was she right to assault him? Fuck.
Yeah, that's
no, and fuck off. Actually, don't fuck. Don't do that. Yes, you can really see. I love this line. You gotta listen to these lines.
Yourself to make it convincing.
Oh yeah.
Check his damn fingernails.
The fingernails for. Oh right, for having laid a hand on her, right?
Yes, there would have been some at least some bleeding blood, some of her blood or flesh in there because it was they got him immediately, you know.
Right. But he didn't touch her, right?
Oof. Yeah, exactly. That's why. Yeah, but look
and I
at this,
love that they do this without any dialogue.
Oh.
It's like, now that's probably some of the best facial animation in the movie right there with Potiphar. Like somebody had a good moment with him.
Yeah.
That was a really odd wide mouth. It's like, somebody put a burrito in my mouth kind of moment. Like, what the fuck is that?
And we never see
we never see her again. Now, somebody be my Bible for a minute, like, or someone, was there any inference or any knowledge of Potiphar having his wife stoned? Like, cause we never see her again. Not really sure what happened to her. The movie certainly doesn't make any light of it.
I thought that was an Egyptian thing. It was definitely an Israelite thing, but
yeah, but you know, it's osmosis, and they could have picked it up from somewhere. And,
True.
And where did the Egyptians pick it up from? It's a chicken egg situation, really. But I mean, biblically, the chicken came before the egg, so we're not gonna. So let's not worry about that.
You know, I'm not. Here's the thing. There's many different. Thanks to, thanks to Christians, there's a different editions of the Bible. So.
True.
Translations.
Okay, I love this. You'll see that there's slight like artistic differences between these two guys' dreams. There's the curly cues here. Right? Yeah. Would the egg survive by itself?
I got something better to do while I'm in here.
There you go, Rentran. That's a good question. We'd need a chicken to protect it. There you are. But God's hand could be... But again, if we're going by creation, God's hand could have been over the egg. So, you never know. Yeah.
Talk about the chicken and egg, please.
Yeah, all right. But, like, yes.
Can we focus on what's going on now?
Yeah. Now, this is great right here. Because the visuals, again, not Van Gogh anymore. And this guy... This dream right here. And then we see like this artistic, like kind of half dead tree here. Yeah.
Oh, oh.
Yeah. He doesn't want to say
it doesn't sound good.
Oof. Ooh boy.
The baker and the cupbearer.
Yep. The baker and the butler.
So what in the world did the baker do?
Well, they assume the butler did it. But which is why they're both in here. But they both want to stand up for each other.
Considering one guy handles the wine, one handles the bread, maybe there was an assassination attempt or something.
You may be right.
Oh, and you notice that, look, I like that symbolism that he didn't eat his 3 pieces of fruit over the 3 days.
That's true. Bum bum. Hello, Gantu. Wow. That's the actual Gantu voice. That's like Skulker from Danny Phantom. Good lord. And yes, I know Skulker had a different voice actor in season 1. Don't at me.
Yes, I know. We said Chef Louis, yeah. May he rest in peace.
Someone must have said Chef Louis.
You said it.
Me?
You said Chef Louis. Well, whatever, fine.
Did my mouth run on its own? I'm gonna have to watch that back.
I don't know. You probably said it was among that chicken. Whatever you're talking about, chickens. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Anyway. Look who's here. Don't worry, Joseph. She will be the
and let's
Sally
bear in mind, we only
Jack.
saw a few moments, but he'd been in there for about a year, so imagine there'd been some more moments, enough for her to care this much, you know?
She's playing the Sally to his Jack Skellington.
She tried.
Yep. Now, I think this may... No.
They worked fast.
Yeah, this may be in a technical sense in relation to...
At least you got water.
Yeah.
People can last longer without food. Water, not as much. Oof. They crushed the tree.
Yep. Yep. And can I point out that, like, this is not a sin? Like, I feel like some people would be like, why are you taking your wrath out on God? And even Jesus, when he was on the cross, he was only human and said, God, why have you forsaken me? And, like...
I mean, the whole point of these stories is... And the point of this story that you know, when things seem the bleakest...
Even in your darkest moment.
In the end.
Even in your darkest moment. Look at that. It reached into the sun.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll
understand
go
it,
through some
but
trials,
trust
but
it.
they will.
Yeah.
But they will work out in the end.
Yep.
Like
Job.
And you know what? We kind of need this right now.
I thought I did
things are
what's
pretty
right.
bleak.
Okay, so this works. 'cause like this really, I think this kind of works, but it's also confusing why, again, they don't have him singing out loud. This is kind of a Hercules moment. Even the song kind of sounds like I Can Go the Distance. So
yeah, and what he's doing, he's unpacking all the trauma and
in fact,
everything that's happened to him.
if this were like
he's healing.
if this were on stage, this might be the closer. This might be the Act 1 closer right here. It's more sorrowful than something like, say, Defying Gravity, and maybe not as bold as the Proud of Your Boy reprise from Aladdin, but it's like but it is at the very least you know better than I. It's like he's putting it all in God's hands now.
Yeah, and no, but you know the symbolism, you know, him stacking the stones, he's unpacking everything.
That's true.
And look, the tree is growing with every shot. I mean, shows how time going by, and also showing his soul healing.
Yeah, and he's looking a lot healthier too. This is a moment to reuse animation.
And some more.
It's not a real full match on the Dissolve, but that was still a pretty good, like, pose matchup.
Becoming wiser.
Yeah. Older, wiser, better, faster, stronger. Stronger of heart and mind. Body and soul. The thing about rock bottom, there's nowhere to go but up. Yep.
We kind of need this nowadays, now that everything's so bleak.
Yeah.
And you know, I've been crying like, oh God, if you exist, why the hell?
And hey, what did I just say about the song being bold? It's picking up. Bird to... Yep. Love that.
Thing I like of the way that DreamWorks handled these Bible stories is that they include God, they include faith, but they don't hammer it down your throat like some things do.
That's true. They only hammer it as much as the original biblical text does. So yeah, which is you know definitely
because you could see it this way. Like I mean, they do mention God, but you know, it's like he's still
I think even VeggieTales at least tries to be that tempered with it. They try not to overdo it, but they do.
In some of the more recent ones, they really start hammering it a lot more.
Yeah, we'll cover one for Easter that kind of hammers it a bit much, but we'll get there when we get there.
Well, for one thing, Easter is a religious holiday, so
Yep. Yeah, if nothing else. So here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
look at him.
Yeah,
now this guy's looking like now Joseph's out here like looking like a depiction of Jesus. In a way. If a bit of a redhead. It's interesting because I don't think Potiphar came back to this point in the story. It was just a guard who brought him in. Right? On the request of the baker.
Oh, I don't know. It depends on what version you're talking about. King James version? What?
Just from my memory, honestly. That's all.
What the hell happened to your wife? Did you...
Yeah, that's...
Tell me you kicked her out.
That's... And the king can make his... And Potiphar can make his own sandwich. There's a joke for you VeggieTales people. Yes, I know those from a completely different story. Shut up. Anyway.
That wife was killed, I think.
Oh, she was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Haman had to make the sandwich. Love the music. This is consistent music with, like, Prince of Egypt soundtrack. Like, depicting Egypt in this harsh kind of regal way.
And they show his tired eyes there.
Ah, yes. He's barely gotten any sleep. The poor bastard. I think even the line on the bottom of his eye is drawn as red.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this. I love the eyebrow on eyebrow and the line read on God, and then the subtitles also do the capital G, which is like that kind of points out like he's kind of spitting in the idea. It's like, how could you do better than any of the other people I've asked, you know, which is great. And here's a dream that has a completely different artistic aesthetic, and God, this is the most starkly different and really well.
And
really
I was
nice.
thinking of a barbecue. Then 7 scrawny ones came along and took the big fat cows.
Okay, see, yeah, VeggieTales did that part musically. I mean, I'd say as a musical, this one's a little light. Especially compared, I can compare to a sung through musical with the Joseph's Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Yeah, the red line on the bottom of his eyes.
They also show him as a lot paler, and I don't know if you noticed, but when you're sleep deprived, your skin gets paler.
Yeah, that is terribly, terribly true. Yeah.
It definitely happens with me when I had a lot of sleepless nights.
And it turns into a dragon. It's that thing looking like Maleficent. And then sickly skeleton Maleficent dragon thing is like, yeah, that is great. That is a great depiction. In fact, I'd say the sickly grain was a lot better than the sickly cows. I think the sickly cows should have been skeletal too instead of those giant stone things. They should have been uglier. Yep. And this comes from the original text, as much as can be gleaned between translation to translate. I think that's why you got to read multiple translations of the Bible to be able to suss out, okay, where's the crossover and where's the difference, right?
But people really should just read the Torah and learn Hebrew.
Exactly, yeah.
That's why I get really annoyed when people argue like yes, English should be America's language because it's God's language. Like, no, it's not.
What the fuck? Okay, let's not address that. That's just just stupid.
I was like, no, it's not.
Here goes.
Yes, scribe going, what? No, I've really heard people say that.
Anyway, and look, even Potiphar kneels before him.
Yeah, everybody's bowing to him.
Yeah. Did the subtitles forget a the?
No. No, there was a the.
The God speaks in the subtitle? I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. Anyway.
Why?
Well, not now, later. Our brain's doing things. Look at this cat. Isn't it neat?
Yeah. I was about to say maybe Ariel would like cats, but no, she's a dog person because it's a dog.
Yep. Yeah. This is
to
kind
you,
of,
I'm Joseph.
and this is a love ballad right here, which is done in a very "Can You Feel the Love Tonight" way. Again, we do not see Joseph sing, and I think that's very upsetting and kind of upsets the placement of the songs a little bit. I mean, they fit well, and they do what they need to do where they need to do it. And I love that. I love that transition to the wedding, and the Pharaoh and Potiphar right back there.
Montage song, that's what it is.
A montage song and a ballad. which is weird that we don't actually hear an ensemble with this. Or that those guys are just saying good morning when they could sing good morning, right? We thrive. It's like higher and higher a hymn. I like that. We have Elton John at home. Thank you, squad. I guess it is a little more...
the irrigation from the...
Yeah. I guess it is a little more Elton John-esque than Phil Collins.
She's pregnant.
Yeah. I love player in a much bigger plan instead of game, because game plan. Game could be implied. It's just like, it works. It works really well. Honestly, I think it's pretty good phrasing. And it's just more upsetting that we don't see Joseph out loud with his lips. Of which we see the random guys. Yeah. Yeah, and here he is. Yep.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, it's adorable. Why doesn't he say the lessons I have known? I am surely being shown. Like, it's interesting that they don't... It's like, it wouldn't be confusing. It would make sense. Just don't understand why they're singing about some other guy. She's singing about him. He should be singing about himself. Because that's what
Can we move on, please?
How about we're simply players in a much bigger plan?
Can we go one movie without you trying to rewrite all the lyrics, please?
I'm speaking on it in terms of it being a musical, and I'm commenting on it as it's happening, so I don't have to, like, address it later. And it's like... Yeah. And moving forward on the, It's interesting, they even went to the trouble of, like, making their silos look like beautiful monuments, which is terribly clever.
Well, you saw it was her audition in order to make the Pharaoh happy.
What?
It was her audition. She was the one who added the head to the design.
Yeah.
You see, you were so focused on the lyrics, you weren't actually watching what was happening.
That's not what happened. I loved the line about multitudes, where there were multitudes. It was great. And here it is, the dread that they had, and the cow, the dead cow. God, why does that one leg look like it's part of a Tinker toy? That's a little weird. And here we are at Marketplace. Here we are at
yes,
Marketplace.
the 7 years in abundance of famine do happen side by side. We're just kind of at the beginning of the famine years.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait. Scribe, are you saying you thought it was like 1 year of famine, 1 year of abundance, or, you know?
Nope. It was 7 straight in and 7 straight out. As Pharaoh's dream per. Yeah. They started with 7 good and 7 bad came afterward.
This girl gets like 2 seconds and she's on the VHS cover.
Yeah, she is very cute. It was a brief moment. Oh, and this is a great moment right here. Especially when you see those faces. Oh, and man's having a panic attack.
Been at least nine-ish years, maybe.
Yeah. This is actually mirroring that one scene from Prince of Egypt. Which one was it? I think it was Moses fleeing Egypt after having killed the guy.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Which is great. Which is a great parallel because, you know, Moses is Joseph's descendant.
Yeah. Did you hear he said our wives are hungry?
Yeah.
Silver. Oof.
Man is not having a good time right now. Ooh, and that really made him mad.
He has every right to be mad, you know? And he's changed so much after like
Yeah.
9, 10-ish years.
You can see his wife being like, what?
Like, this isn't you.
Yeah. Something is completely off, but we know. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
She's like, this isn't you.
Yeah. She knows him better. Yeah. And just. And I think she's pregnant again, right? Like. 'Cause I remember seeing that they have a second kid at some point.
Well, actually. Yeah, come on, just tell her, man.
Yeah. Yep. She knows
Yeah,
about the
that's-
slavery part, but she doesn't realize it was his own brothers who did it to them. Yep. And, yeah. I think he already said the thing about the mother. It's, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But it doesn't change the fact that he was harshly betrayed.
I love that shadow. That was great. That was great. That was great framing. It's like, there's some good... Oof. Yeah.
You know, these two are an underrated couple here.
Yeah.
Do love how they actually have the wife playing a bit more of a role here.
And that's those words. Those words. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something I like about DreamWorks too, that they gave a little bit more to the women.
Yeah, here it is. And she's reprising the mother's song, I believe. Yeah. No, they said hi to him again.
No, I think it's a different song.
Well, wait until we get to the... She does reuse a line from the mother. If nothing else.
Okay, you're right. Never mind.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, but that doesn't erase the trauma, you know?
Exactly. It's
the thing, you know,
yeah.
I like how they say, like, yeah, well, yeah, your life turned around, but that doesn't change the fact that someone hurt you
Yeah.
really bad.
Mm-hmm. Well, and she sees the anger in his eyes.
20 years, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
20 years, so that's
Yeah.
so I guess we're a little ways into the famine.
Yeah,
but...
I think Potiphar hasn't necessarily said anything about the situation because, well, Potiphar doesn't quite. He may have told him, maybe, but I'm not sure. And
Yeah, Animanic did a good job of making him, like, you know, look different enough that, of course, they would
And there
recognize
it
him.
is. There it is. They have
all
kneeled
bound
before him.
Yeah, even look on his face for a second.
Yep.
Who looks
Yeah,
just
and-
like you.
Like a fucking mirror, except more of a brunette.
And a very
than
old mirror.
Except more of a brunette than a redhead. His hair is darker. Yep.
Damn it.
Uh-oh.
Oh, God.
Well, I hope there's not too many hiccups for you guys. I hope at least it's just not skipping things. God, that's too many frames dropped.
It's looking fine for me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Not you, the people on the internet.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah. He is just...
The
And you
face.
can hear Joseph just eating this up. And then also feeling sad for his father in just a moment.
Ben Affleck. You're actually doing really well on this here.
Apologies to everyone. I have no control. Hey, honey, could you talk about the film for a moment? I'll be right back. I need to use the restroom
okay.
and I cannot pause it.
Wait a minute. I just saw like bruises on Judah's eye. Wait, did I miss something? Oh, like, and we call back to the cupbearer. Oh. He's like, yeah. For people who don't understand this, I mean, they say in the Bible too that this is a test. Because he needs to test if his brothers truly have changed. Because, it's not something he can easily forgive. I don't know how you know the audio is lagging. Okay, well, he just cut open the sack and sliced through the... Oh. Now the cup just fell out of the bag. And there's to show that they are different. Yeah.
I do apologize for that disturbance. Anyway, there's nothing I can do about it right now. Hopefully, people watching the stream in the future don't have trouble. Anyway. Yep.
And there it is. That's the sign that they've truly
Man,
changed.
I missed the bit with the... I missed the bit with the thing, yeah.
Yes.
And they're finally being honest. Yep. You can see
We're at the part where...
You can see the creases on his forehead. It's just sad. It's just really, really sad. Honestly.
We were having forgiveness even before the Jesus time.
I'm pausing every other second. Yeah, that's going to be bad for future streams. It really, really is. I hope we're still connected, though. Anyway.
I mean, it's fine on my end.
Again, not you. The people on YouTube. It's pausing, but it'll be fine afterward. I hope you're right, Bella. I hope you're right.
Joseph just revealed himself.
Yeah.
They need a place.
Yeah. He's like
He was also gone a lot browner from all the sun.
Oh yeah. We've seen, and also want to The
Yeah.
what is it that I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say something. I love this. Okay, I love this. I love this look she gives. Like, oh, Joseph, you son of a you know, you
Yeah,
could you have at least let me in on?
this
Yeah, like I've done this to you, and I think like, oh, DF made that face at me, didn't she? When I didn't when I don't let her in on the gag, it's like, and I confuse the shit out of her. It's like, yeah, I got to be better.
Pretty
about
much,
that.
yes.
I'm trying to be.
And this is how the Israelites came to Egypt.
Yep.
Rather, in this case, the Canaanites came to Egypt, which will become the Israelites.
Yep. Yep.
And then they will all be made slaves because there's too many of them.
They were all named after a man who killed his own brother.
Yeah, ain't the genetics of Genesis fun? You know,
Oh boy.
Cain is not even the worst one. I mean, if you look at Lot and his daughters,
Oh boy. What happened after Noah and his family got off the boat? Ugh. A miracle.
Yeah.
Yep. That will then in a few generations is going to turn really, really sour. Hoo boy. And this is also a reprise from Joseph. And I'll say one of the biggest issues with this film is that there is no ensemble. The only ensemble number is we get of the choir of Egypt's people and Egypt's gods by way of their people, if you will. That's how I choose to interpret it anyway. And there's the star bowing in the sun and the moon, looking like 2001: A Space Odyssey. Where the hay falls. There's that payoff. The hay falls, yes.
Yeah, everything is shit right now. So I'm only hoping that there better be us coming out of this even stronger, or else I'm going to be really raging at the heavens right now.
Oh, cry out to the heavens. They will hear you. And we've survived 4 years before. We'll survive them again. I think, anyway. I'll go ahead and see how well that ages by this time next year. I'll let y'all know. But yeah, let's see. Judah as Mark Hamill. Yeah. Oh boy, yeah. Wow, like what a cast too. Ken Campbell is the baker and the butler. Renee Auberjonois, right? Chef Louis, right? I always forget stuff like that. Okay, you want to give some thoughts before I ramble for like 5 minutes?
I think it's pretty straight up an interpretation of, at least what I understand the story of Joseph. It's been a while since I actually read the text, but
Same.
And it's a real pity DreamWorks didn't try some other stories with this, because they were really good at making kind of a not shine too much away from the darkness of these Bible stories.
Yeah.
And the fact that these characters were imperfect. I mean, they did kind of gloss over the whole polygamy, but
they're human.
But even so, and unlike I'd say, for example, a lot of the Bible epics of like the 50s and 60s, such as the Ten Commandments, which really hammered the God angle down there. And while they do mention God in here, because
you can blame
that's their faith.
You can
let me finish,
okay,
please.
Sorry.
While they do mention God in here and in the Prince of Egypt, they still presented it in a way that even if you're not religious, you can totally relate to these characters. I mean, here in the case of this movie, we got the golden child stuff, and we've got the going through trauma, and like, why the hell is all this stuff happening to me? I didn't do anything wrong.
Why does it always happen?
And then suddenly it all turns around.
Additional paint services by Mercury Filmworks. Wander over yonder. Wowzers. So they sent some of this off to Canada. Huh, that's neat. Okay.
Now you may go.
Okay. Actually, I want to add on to that. You could definitely blame that old biblical epic films on the Hays Code. And the dismantling of the Hays Code in favor of the MPAA is responsible for less God, oh my fucking God damn it, in these films. They're much less stringent on that, and they're more honest about their stories. So there you go. You know?
Yeah. Or even nowadays. So like, well, the new, like some of the later VeggieTales ones really kind of hammered it too much. Like that whole thing about Abe and the big promise and how a lesson in patience and how he waited and waited to have a son. I'm like, he did not fucking wait. He went and slept with another woman and had another son before he had this son that you're talking about.
Yeah, but like they also like used slapping people with fishes as a euphemism for murder. And fish can also have a bit of a...
No. Okay, but that is funny. This was
yes, but also, but I also think
that's plain wrong.
I also think that the fish was also a choice because of like a little bit of a sexual connotation in terms of like what you'd think of pillagers, plunderers, riflers, and looters. Kidnappers, ravagers, not given any hooters.
You know, we need to do Jonah at some point.
Oh,
I mean,
we will.
That's a full
we
movie,
will.
and that's a musical.
It's
so
a musical
there you go.
too. It's like for some reason I only thought about the song by Twippo at the end, but then I'm realizing, no, wait, it is a full musical. What the fuck am I talking about? You know?
It's like there's like a whole recorder book on those songs.
Yeah, you got the opening number of the film is where the kids are singing a Twippo song, which bookends the film very nicely when they end with Twippo doing a number about the story we just had.
Right, yeah.
We'll get there.
You know what? We're getting off track.
Yeah. Yeah, Jonah, oh boy, I'm gonna have a lot of things to say about Jonah, not just as like a movie, which is really good and really funny and really well animated, but also as a story.
You should probably stop before you lose connection entirely.
Yep, so I think that's gonna be it for this evening. I hope everybody, unfortunately, I don't think y'all will be able to get your farewells into the chat before I fully say wrap up, so but I am wrapping up now, just to say one more thing. The songs were good.